Alright friends, this is going to be a video tutorial on how to install a 7 days to die server under CentOS 7. Now what we have here is a completely clean, fresh installation of CentOS. All I have done is logged in as the root user. So what we're going to do first, and I always recommend doing this before you do anything, is we are going to do yum update. And since I trust the sources of the update, -y. All that does is answers yes to anything that comes up. And in this case, we want all of the updates, so we're going to say yes. This looks like a lot of updates. No, perhaps not that many. This is an absolutely necessary step, but it shouldn't take too long, so bear with me. For those of you who are already well skilled and well versed in Linux, this might be obvious, but this tutorial is meant to be used for anybody, even if you know absolutely nothing about Linux. If you know nothing, you should be able to watch this tutorial and come away with it, or rather, come away from it with enough knowledge to start your own CentOS 7 days to die server. There we go. Looks like that was a relatively large update that I got stuck on. Now I have already done a video on this before, and the instructions have not changed. However, my production value has changed. So this one hopefully will be easier to watch and easier to actually understand what I'm doing. Funny enough, the machine that I used last time to demonstrate the server is still the same machine, so literally nothing has changed other than my production value. Looks like we're almost done here. And I do apologize about this, but again, 100% necessary step. Okay, there we go. Now, before we truly begin, there are some requirements that you must have, and a lot of other tutorials will skip over these requirements. Maybe they will assume you have it, or they assume you know enough to get it. But again, this tutorial is for beginners, so we are going to make sure to grab all of the prerequisites. Now first things first, yum install Nano. Nano is a text editing program. CentOS 7 does come with a text editor, but this one is easier to use for beginners. Next, yum install EPEL-RELEASE, EPEL release. Now EPEL release is not a program, it's a repository, it's a list of programs. So if we want to install something from that list, we have to have the list installed. So there we go. Now, of the things on the EPEL repository, we want yum install htop -y. htop, I'll actually show you here in a second, it's pretty small. It lets you, it's kind of similar to the resource monitor in the Windows Task Manager. Here, I'll show you. Isn't that nifty? It shows each of your cores, gives you a percentage of each one being used, it shows how much memory you have, the swap space. Oh, and swap space is kind of like your paging file in Windows, and we don't need that. So, we have htop now. Let's go ahead and download yum install wget. And that, I'm not, did I not press? Oh, I didn't press -y. I pressed -t instead. Oops. Anyway, wget lets you download programs from specific websites instead of through the repositories, and we need that to get Steam. Next, we need yum install Lynx, Links. Lynx is a text-based browser for the internet. Now this can be particularly useful in finding out your external IP address, but we will get to that later. The server that we are running is going to be internal only, but that doesn't matter. These steps are still true for external servers as well. So we've installed Lynx. The next thing that we need is yum install screen, screen. Screen lets you run certain scripts in the background instead of having them take up your screen space. There are other ways to do this, but screen is pretty easy. I believe that should be everything we need for the moment. So let's go ahead with the first step. Now right now we are on the root user. Now you never ever want to run any game servers as root, just in case they get compromised. You don't want your whole machine to be compromised. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a second user. Add user, one word, 7D2D. The reason that I'm using 7D2D is because it's going to be dedicated to my 7 days to die server. You can name this whatever you want. But in the future, when we reference 7D2D, you will have to enter whatever you entered. So we're going to add user. Now the user has been added. This user does not have a password, so we're going to give them a password. PASSWD 7D2D. So I'm going to go ahead and add a password here. It's going to ask that you type it again to make sure that it is correct. Alrighty. Now a very important step that didn't used to be necessary is to add our new user to the sudo group in order to use screen. So what we are going to do is add 7D2D to our wheel group. Now to do that, all we have to do is usermod, usermod, one word, dash, lowercase a, capital G, and then wheel. And then, of course, our user, 7D2D. Here you will enter whatever you named yours. Ta-da! That's it. That's all you have to do. Now the next step is to open up the firewall ports that 7 days to die will use. To do that, we will invoke, rather, not open, firewall-cmd. We will do 2 dashes, zone equals public, another 2 dashes, add dash port equals 26900/TCP. And to make sure that this stays here, we will do dash dash permanent. The reason we want it to be permanent is because if we didn't, the port would only be open for this session. Once the machine restarted, or if you logged out, that port would be closed, and you would no longer be able to access your 7 days to die server. So we got a success. Now we need to open that port for UDP as well. Now here, instead of typing all that out again, I'm going to press the up arrow key for the same command, and then I will go back, and I will change TCP to UDP. Enter. Success. And to make sure that they actually open now, we will go ahead and do firewall-cmd, 2 dashes, reload. Alrighty. Now on to the next step. We need a couple of libraries for SteamCMD to use. The libraries that we need are the C libraries and the C++ libraries. All you need to know is those are different programming languages, and SteamCMD and many of the games that are on it use them. So to do that, we will do yum install glibc.i686. Now we need two libraries. We need the C++ one as well. So to install both of them at once, we will do space lib std c++ dot i686 minus y. Alright, so it's going to go ahead and install those. They're not terribly large, so it should take only a couple seconds here. And there we go. At this point, we are going to go ahead and change to our 7 days to die server user. So we're going to do su for super user, and then our 7 days to die username. So now we are logged in as that user. However, we are still in the root directory, and we can't do anything here. So we're going to change directory using the command cd, and then we will do a tilde. That stands for the home directory. Now to make sure we are there, we will do ls. There's nothing here. That's good, because this is a brand new user. There shouldn't be anything there. If there is something there, you're in the wrong directory. ls stands for list, by the way. So now we need to get the actual SteamCMD. So to do that, we will invoke wget that we installed earlier. So we will type in wget, and here's a long one, so you might actually want to just watch the screen instead of listening to me say it, because I'm liable to mess up my words here. So let's go with https:// client//steam/linux.tar.gz. Alright, looks like it's downloaded that just fine. Now what we need to do is unpack it, because that downloaded as a compressed file. So to decompress it, we will use tar space xf space steamcmd underscore linux dot tar dot gz. Alright, now if we do ls, we will see that we have it there. Let's go ahead and log in. /steamcmd.sh. Now this has basically started Steam. So as usual, it's going to download and update. It shouldn't take too long here. So we're going to go ahead and log in. And here I'm going to have to cut the video. I'm going to log into Steam, but I don't want to share my credentials. So I will be right back after I've logged in. Alrighty, we are back. All I have done is logged in. So, what we're going to do now, and of course if you have a Steam guard code you will have to enter that, but what we will do now is pretty simple. Force underscore install underscore dir dot / 7d2d. Now what this does is it tells Steam to install anything we download to that directory, and that directory being our 7 days to die directory. So now we will download the 7 days to die server. App underscore update 294420. and then after that we will type in validate. Now this absolutely will take a while because we are downloading the entire 7 Days to Die server files. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording once again, and I will come back once it has downloaded. Alrighty then. We have it fully installed, now we can quit. Exit, I suppose. Okay. So now that we've got that installed, what we want to do is configure the server itself. Now, if we do ls, we will see that there is another, right here, 7 Days to Die directory. So we are going to go into that with cd, change directory, 7d2d. ls again. Now what we want to do is edit serverconfig.xml. So we will type in nano, which is that program we installed earlier, server config, helps if you spell it correctly, .xml. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of stuff here to deconstruct. So first things first, let's go ahead to the name. I never leave this my game host. And one thing to know is when you're doing a random world, this is used in combination with the seed to generate the world. So let's name it, I don't know, low spec server. Or no, I got a better one. Let's name it Chonker. The reason we're choosing Chonker is because that server that I've used has gotten a little bit beefier in the recent days. So we'll get rid of this. Basic description. A chonky server. Okay. And you can, of course, name this whatever you want. You don't have to copy this. We want a password. Let's see, and you can always change this, but I'm going to choose, I'm just looking at the stuff that's around my desk here. Let's go with Coke. Got a Coke on my desk. Okay, now there's a couple things that I always do. If you're going to have more players than 8, obviously change this. But I'm not going to have any more than 3 or 4, so we're going to leave it as is. Let's go ahead to the telnet. Now, telnet is how someone would remotely connect to the server's admin command line, basically. We're going to disable this. Now, I'm going to intentionally make a rookie mistake here to show you how to diagnose it and how to fix it. So this should be false instead of true, but I'm just going to delete it altogether. So it's expecting a value of true or false, but we're going to have it blank. That's going to cause an error, and it won't let it run. That's okay. I'll show you how to diagnose that and fix it later. Now let's go up to this networking here, and I don't know why they do this, but for some reason, Steam networking is disabled by default. Now this one we will just clear. That way, no network protocols are outright disabled. So let's see, let's go ahead and change a few other things that we can about the game. Let's see, we don't want to change any of this. Let's see, now this would be your anti-cheat, true or false. We're going to leave it as true. I have a certain friend that, well, let's just say that I need to have this remain as true, otherwise he'll spontaneously have a whole bunch of really nifty stuff. Let's see. This is probably good. We want persistent player profiles. True. Let's go to the world, game world. We want this to be random gen. I love me some random gen. That would be RWG for random world generation. All caps. Now let's go ahead and put a seed in here. Let's do YouTube video. Now, I don't like small worlds. I like them to be so massive that it takes me an impossibly long time to actually navigate. I want to have so much to explore that I never run out of stuff. So let's see what the maximum is. I believe it's 32 something. Come on. Okay, has to be between 2048 and 16384. So let's just do the max of 16384. This will take a very, very long time to load. And actually, now that I think about it, let's do right in the middle. Let's do what is that? What would that be? 8192. 8192. That's a pretty gosh darn large world. Game name. Name that whatever you want. We want it to be survival. Now this is all stuff that I'm configuring for my own personal tastes. You don't have to copy this. Game difficulty. Let's go ahead and raise that up a bit. We'll go from 2 to 3. Player damage, same. AI, same. Blood Moon, same. No multiplier for XP. Let's do this up to 7. Build create. We want cheat mode off. The day length, I like to do 120. Length is fine. Drop on death. I want this to be backpack only, so that would be 2. Drop on quit, nothing. Bedroll, dead zone size, that's fine. Max spawned zombies. I have a relatively decent server, so let's go with 80. Max spawned, let's see, 50. Let's do 100 for animals and go back down to 60 for zombies. Just because I never seem to find any animals. Let's see. Yeah, we want enemies to spawn. Enemy difficulty. Let's see. We want these to be regular. Zombie move. That's fine. Move night. I'm going to lower that to 2. Feral move. Same. Blood moon. Same. Okay. Blood moon frequency. 7 days. That's good. Range 0. That's fine. 8's fine. Enemy count. Let's raise that. Let's do 16. That's, I believe, per player. As zombies spawned during... Yep. Okay. Loot abundance. I normally like to raise this, but this is going to be a long-term server, so we're going to leave it as is. Loot respawn days. We're going to lower that to 15 days. Airdrop is fine, but we do definitely want the airdrop marker. So we're going to go ahead with true. Players shared kill range. We will raise this up to 150. Actually, let's do 250. Just in case someone's at the bottom of a tower while the other person's at the top. Killing mode 3. Let's see what that is. Kill everyone. Let's do no killing, because these are my friends, and I know them. Actually, let's go with kill strangers only. We'll go with that. Land claim. I never claim land anyway. It's butts. So we're going to leave all this default. And I believe that should be everything we need to do. So we will do Control X. That will save. If we press Y. There we go. Now, if you recall, we left an error in there under the telnet. It should have been false. We left it blank. So what we are going to do is run the server. Yep. Believe we should be good to go. We're in the right directory. So, remember how I had us add 7D2D to the wheel group, so that way we could use sudo? Here's where we need it. Sudo screen dash lowercase d lowercase m capital S 7D2D dot / start server dot sh dash config file equals serverconfig.xml. Alrighty. Now, let's see, we're going to need a sudo password. I think that's the right one. Aha! There we go. Okay. Open up HTOP and you can see that it's not running. Why is it not running? Let's go back. F10 to quit. Let's try that again. So we see that it starts to start, and then it quits. Now let's go. F10, ls. Let's go to the 7 days to die server data directory. So we're going to type in cd 7, and if we press tab, it will start to complete it. It'll give us options. Data. Okay. ls. You see that output log? Let's go ahead and nano that. .txt. Okay. So here's the log for the server. This will tell us what the problem is. We know what the problem is, but just in case you make a mistake, this will tell you what's going wrong. So if we go down here, we will see error parsing config file property telnet enabled. That is exactly what we were looking for. So we're going to go ahead and exit this without saving. Going to cd ... that will jump us up one directory. Make sure we're in the right one. Yep. So let's go ahead and edit that server config again with nano serverconfig.xml. So let's go ahead down to telnet enabled, and remember this needs to be false. So we'll go ahead and save this. Now, if we run our server, you will see that it shouldn't quit on us, unless I made another mistake. But it looks like we're good to go. So this is going to think for a second, and then in a moment or two we should see a whole bunch more of those pop up, and then all of our threads will be maxed while it generates the world. So this is going to do this for a very, very long time. You could be looking at the screen for 5 to 10 minutes. But that's it. Once these threads up here drop down to a more reasonable, 5 to 10% usage, your server is ready to log into. And that is all you need to know to go ahead and start your own 7 days to die server under CentOS 7. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will do my absolute best to answer them. Otherwise, you're good. So we're going to go ahead and quit this. Now to access your server over the internet. Remember links? Let's go ahead and open that. Give it a moment. Might not be so good while the server's doing crazy things. Actually, that might not be so bad. Let's go ahead and try that again. 10 links. Okay, F9 for file, go to URL. That was my fault. I forgot how to use links for a moment there. So we're just going to go to Google, www.google.com. We will press tab and then enter on OK. And there we are. We are on the Google homepage. So we're going to press tab a whole bunch. Once it finishes its buttery. I guess I can click because I have a mouse. Let's go to I forgot you could use a mouse in the terminal. So, if you're going to log into this server from the internet, and this is assuming that you have your ports forwarded and everything set up on your router, you're going to want to do, what is my IP? Enter Google search. Now the reason we're going to do this is because CentOS will tell you the IP that's assigned to it, but it'll only tell you the IP directly assigned, not the external one. So in my case, it's 192.168.0. something. It shouldn't be that. So you see this one right here, this 205. whatever. This, oh, I messed that up. Go back. I shouldn't click on things. So 205.237, this address right here, .161.67, that is the address of my server. It is not online. My 7 days to die one, I do not have port forwarding set up, so you will not be able to see Chunker in the server list. So what we're going to do, if you were to have that online, this is the address that you want to share with your friends. Alright? Alright. Go ahead and exit. Okay. See how that server's doing. Give it a second here. This might actually be ready to log into already. Maybe. Let's find out. Let's see how this works. We're going to go ahead and try and log into our server. Once again, mine is not on the internet, so I will only see it on the LAN interface. But that's okay. If yours is on the internet, use links, check your IP, and you should be able to log into it that way. So we're going to join a game. Give it a moment. Check LAN. Guess it's not ready yet. What's this? Peer-to-peer? Nah. We're going to give it a little bit. Let it generate that massive world. I forgot about that. Yeah, there's no chunker yet. Okay. I will be back as soon as it shows up. Alrighty. Looks like we have it here. We're going to go ahead and join Chunker. What was my password? I think that was it. Oh no, it was Coke, wasn't it? Join, Chunker, connect, Coke. Capital C. Let's see what our server looks like. The first time you do this, it'll take quite a while because your computer's going to have to download the server file as well. But the actual server is being hosted on your new machine. There we go. And every time someone else connects to your server, they're going to have to download the world as well. But this should only have to happen once. Tell you what, I'll come back once again once this is done downloading. Alrighty. Should be done any moment now, and then we can see what our world looks like. Yep. Alright. There we go. Looks like we've got some houses over there, possibly a small town. Hey, that's not bad. Okay, so the server is working. Let's have a quick look at, let's see here. And look at that, our server is barely struggling. So, with one person logged in, we are using less than 10% of our CPU, about 4 gigs of RAM, but the only reason it's using so much RAM is because the world is absolutely massive. You could probably run for hours on this thing and not reach the end of the map. So there you go. That is how you start a 7 days to die server on CentOS 7. Thank you very much for watching, and as I stated earlier, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will do my very best to answer them. Thank you and goodbye.